Welcome to Damsels in Dialogue, a podcast dedicated to female protagonists in fiction, film, and the stage. Co-hosted by India Marie Paul
and Katie Zetter. Here at Damsels in Dialogue, we support the LGBTQ+ community and all women because trans women are women.
For our second season, we have wands at the ready and we'll be discussing the women of the wizarding world. This episode, we are talking about the overworked Molly Weasley along with our favorite Beauxbaton champion, Fleur Delacour, and the women in their families.
Welcome to episode 2.
Episode 2!
I'm very excited. So, before we get into the lovely ladies of this episode with spooky season, and we understand that getting into the vibes of these podcasts will want you to purchase some things and let us tell you where to get some magical merch.
Ooh, yes.
Today's episode is sponsored by Fan Corner Creations. You can find them at fancornercreations.com and TikTok, Instagram, at the same username. They make handmade fandom products. We make nerdy products no one else does with a passion only a fellow fan can. So check out their stuff and enjoy.
They're very beautiful. I love some of the ornaments they have. It's gorgeous.
Oh, yeah. Their jewelry, all handmade. You can see some of the process of them making it on some of their videos on TikTok and stuff. It's very cool. So I recommend checking that out.
Yes. I am very excited about this episode because I have a lot of feelings and I didn't develop these feelings for some of the characters until after I read the book. So I was very surprised also I'm an adult reading them. So I feel like that also gives me a lot more feelings towards. So we're talking about Molly Weasley and Fleur Delacour and her family. And we're going to start with one of my favorite bit characters in this whole series, which is Aunt Muriel. I adore her, and she's only physically in the last book, and she makes such a big impression that we had to make sure she fit into an episode.
Gosh. She's mentioned a lot, and it's one of those funny things that throughout the series she's mentioned as, Aunt Muriel got me this one year, was so annoying, or like, Aunt Muriel, Ron, you've only kissed Aunt Muriel. All these little casual drops of this ancient Aunt Muriel. Maybe she'll let you borrow her goblin-made crown, you know.
Yes.
And it really doesn't, even though she's casually mentioned a lot, it still doesn't really set you up for when you finally meet her in all her glory.
She's just she's a force. She's described as having a beaky nose, red rimmed eyes, and a feathery pink hat. So you know you're ready.
Yes.
She comes to this wedding in a pink hat and immediately is insulting people and looking.
Yes. You're wearing a hot pink hat and you're upset about what Xenophilius is wearing?
Yep. Yeah.
He looks like an omelet. She could care less about what other people think of her. She is so old, as she reminds everybody constantly that she is 107.
Yes. I wrote down a quote that she specifically says, it's after, in the middle of the wedding after the ceremony, and she just says, "You there, give me your chair. I'm 107. And it's not to be I'm old, help me. It is, she just wants a chair. Demand whoever is there, doesn't even ask their name, doesn't care who they are. It's you there, get me a chair. Her age is just gets her anything she wants.
I fully believe that it is entirely her fault that Tonks and Ron missed their portkey. I don't think it was because they had troubles getting there. I think it's because Tonks does say, they missed the portkey and they had to fly and it was a pain and they were late, but they were both relatively unscathed.
True.
Outside of Bellatrix really gunning for Tonks.
Yeah.
They did a really good job and Ron did really well. But the casual mention of why they're late is once we got there, we missed it and she was fussing over us. Yep. I just imagine them getting her there and her being but did you do this and did you do this? Oh my goodness, you should have done this. Ron, your hair is far too long.
Yeah.
Muriel, we don't have time for this.
I love that idea. And it now will live as what happens in my head because that's perfect.
Props to her though for offering up her house because I highly doubt that was something that I don't think you convince Auntie Muriel to do anything.
Oh yeah.
I think she decides what she wants to do. So she definitely made that decision to put her home. And from what we understand, she lives alone.
I think so. Yeah.
So this 107-year-old woman who lives alone offers up her house, understanding that Death Eaters may be coming for it.
Yeah, target, like definitely target on her back. Like that was surprising when I was reading, because she's introduced as this such a brash person who's super judgy. I get the sense that she hoards a lot of very wealthy things. Which like it
you hear her talking about, or not talking about, you hear them mentioning that she's gonna write Fred and George out of the will, which like they could care less, but so she totally hoards that.
Yeah, like that she has probably some money, and she has this goblin made tiara. It seems like there's some wealth there, and that you have the Weasleys who are scraping by. So it could easily have felt like she was someone who wouldn't really care about them, and like
they're part of the Sacred 28.
Oh, is that like the pureblood families?
Yeah, I believe her family is.
That makes sense. It's Pruitt is the last name, I believe.
Yeah, Pruitt, and then Weasley is as also, like both of them are in it, because that's how you get the connection to the Blacks. Is one of the one of the Weasleys, like a cousin, had married a Black at some point. But yeah, so she has a lot of money from tradition, but definitely not sharing. She does have like 1,000 people under her, so like I get it, but she's something.
It was just a surprise when all of a sudden, like, oh, they're at Murray's, and then she takes in all these other people. Like she takes in Ollivander, she takes in Dean, she takes in Luna. Like she's happily like she's not complaining.
No, she probably feels very important.
Oh yeah,
you know.
Oh
like,
yeah.
I'm sure she in some respect probably enjoys being felt. Yes. I am doing this. Which, like, get it, girl. Get it. She loves she loves to be in it. Like the gossip.
Her love of Rita Skeeter.
Yeah, when she inserts himself into their conversation.
Oh my God.
Just for gossip. I'm like, you are one of those.
Yeah. I do appreciate that she becomes this super important hoarder of knowledge about Dumbledore for the book narrative. Like what she says is super important for like Harry to hear and discover like things that he has to discover.
She's this big gossipy woman who's like, it's great. It's and how it's used.
Yes.
If that makes sense. Her, not even just Aunt Muriel doing it, but how she divulges this information is really defining for what Harry decides to do later.
Yeah, it's this loud character that gives us so much exposition, but it doesn't feel very forced. I thought it was a really great way to introduce so much of it, and it was really comedic. And you have her, she's the only person who calls Jenny Ginevra in the books, which I thought was really telling. There's something interesting about that. Thinks Ginny's dress is too low cut. Thinks Fleur is pretty, but is French. So there's like a Jenny.
Right. I guess she can wear the crown because like she's pretty, but and then when she immediately assumes that they've stolen it when they don't return it in time because their wedding was crashed by Death Eaters.
Like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Auntie Muriel's like, they must have stolen it. Like what?
Yeah. Yep. And I love that about like partway through the wedding when she starts talking about Bathilda. And we get that really important info about the Bathilda Bagshot, that she's drunk. Like she's described as drunk.
Oh yeah, she has had so much, specifically champagne.
Yep.
Because why would she drink anything less than that?
Yeah, obviously.
She's above that. She's above that. She will drink nothing but the highest.
Yep.
Butterbeer, who's that? We don't know her.
Yeah, I love that. It's just,
and is like thrilled to be drinking.
Yeah, it's just such a fun... It's such a fun character, and she's just like loud and proud enough. I love the image when Bill comes back and says that the twins are driving her crazy. Oh, because they're the ones who drove her away from coming to Christmases.
Yes. With the dung under her chair. Yeah. Of course they did.
Yeah, so she never came to Christmas again.
Yeah. They're loaded. What do they care about?
And now they're running their store from her house. And I was like, can you imagine?
Like what she runs mail. Buy mail.
Yes. All the owls coming to her house with this stuff everywhere.
So much stuff. And how dangerous it is too.
Yeah.
She must have like just shoved them into a wing of her house and was like, do not leave.
Yeah.
I mean, Hermione accidentally gets punched in the face by like casually touching one of the items in a box. I can't even imagine. Auntie Muriel, I assume with her wealth and everything, has enough money that her house has probably fairly good size. So I imagine her I imagine her just shutting them up in like a whole like corner of the house with their own door. Like, we don't even want to deal with them.
Yeah. Like, don't come near me. Don't. But she still
but
protects them.
Yeah, still
like-
will. There's, still family.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's still a sense of pride with them being so successful. Of course, doesn't want that in her house, on her roof.
Yeah.
But
yeah, they make
yeah.
some money from that.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Well, and she has a lot of people in her family. I mean, Molly's two brothers were in the original Order of the Phoenix and both died in the original Order of the Phoenix. So she knows what they're all getting into.
Yeah.
For her to offer all that up, I imagine it to be like a little bit like Granny Longbottom,
I was just thinking
I've been
about
calling
Gran.
her.
Yeah.
A little bit, not quite to her extreme, but I imagine it a little bit like that of proudness of family and what they're capable of and what they're doing. So, but man, she's not a great person.
No.
But she is a fun character.
She's so fun. I forgot just how fun she is and how much there is given to her in the beginning of book 7.
Yeah. Because she's not really, it's like the movies maybe mentioned, but you don't get that. And, you don't get the full extent of how ridiculous she is.
Yeah. It was so fun to revisit. And I just want Gran and Muriel to exist in the room together. Like I'd love to see that.
Oh my gosh. That would be a force.
Yeah.
That'd be a force. Cause yeah, we'll get to Madame's Longbottoms later.
Yes,
but, yeah, that's Muriel is such a fun, unexpected how ridiculous she would be. Great treat before all hell breaks loose in book 7.
It was a breath. It was a breath
it.
of like joyous ridiculousness before we get into the dark trudge that is the last book.
Right. But speaking of dark trudges.
Yes.
There are many characters that in the movies, sometimes they add to the characters in the movies because they do get kind of a second chance at them.
Yeah.
I could talk for days on Snape particularly.
Yeah.
Most of movies of them like reevaluating his character. But Molly is one where she is she's a totally different person. I think they really remade her into what everyone, I think, wanted and expected her to be from the first few books.
Yes.
So,
I agree. It was weird because I loved Molly Weasley and I only experienced her full arc in the movies. And so when I come back and start reading, even rereading the 4th one too, like there are things in it that I read and I went, this is almost like a caricature of a nagging wife. And it really upset me because I wanted, we get these tiny tidbits of Molly that are really exciting about who she was in her youth. One of my favorite ones is when she reveals that the fat lady wouldn't let her in at 4 a.m. because she was with Arthur. Like, that's like, oh, she's a little dangerous. Yeah, there are these little glimpses we get to who she is beyond the fact of being a mom. But she's just, the book version of her just feels so like stereotyped, and it really upsets me.
It starts off pretty strong. Something that I was surprised about in her past, though, is that her brothers were in the Order. Arthur was in the Order. She was not.
Yeah.
She joined the Order round 2. She did not join the Order round 1. So I could kind of see it because she had kids. There is some discrepancy in the book where Ginny does bring up, and this is just starting from events before the book, before we dive into where she could have gone from the start. Ginny brings up, oh, well, you and Dad did it too, when they're discussing, how fast Fleur and Bill are getting married and stuff. And it's like, that doesn't really add up because that's more of the Lily and James getting married at 20 and having a kid immediately.
Yeah.
Like, Molly and Arthur are significantly older.
They have to be, yeah. Yeah. Because Ron is Harry's age. So like.
Yes. And if they had Ron and she was 20 and Bill is almost 10 years older, that doesn't make any sense. They're closer to the ages of like the Malfoys. So I could see them all of a sudden being like, let's finish the family. But it doesn't make sense to me. They're like, oh, let's get married early during the war because they would have already had Bill and Charlie.
It's like maybe they
and like potentially
after having
Percy.
Kids. Like maybe they had kids out of wedlock. Like
that doesn't seem like
it feels weird. Yeah, that the characters aren't built. Yeah.
No, I mean they don't even let Fleur and Bill stay in the same room when they're which makes sense. It is a kid's book.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was a little confusing to me. I could see them being like, why maybe Ron and Ginny? Because they're like, let's finish the family. But
yeah, that doesn't track.
Yes, thank you. That didn't track.
Yeah.
All those things aside from before we meet her, she's also a character that I noticed that sometimes they're like, we need something in the plot to happen. We'll just make her say it. And it seems weird. Like when we first meet her, she's like, packed with muggles. What's the platform number?
Yeah.
It's like, ma'am, you have been coming here every year.
So long.
For so long. For so long.
You know.
You know. So that was definitely like out of character. We just need this to be said.
Yeah.
But she starts off really strong as a person where she's like
so,
immediately kind and helpful to Harry without even knowing who he is.
They set up a bit of how chaotic her life is and how like she has to be like pulled in so many directions and
right. She forbids Fred and George from asking Harry about anything with Voldemort. Like you said, you get the hectic life a little bit. And something interesting that you see is in book 1, Ron's mentions, she always forgets that I don't like corned beef. And then immediately comes to her defense and is like, well, she hasn't got much time, 5 kids and all. But in later books, she on the train is giving them stuff. And she's like, I know, Ron, it's not corned beef. You see these moments of her like doing her best.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't even imagine. She has to be a queen of magic.
Oh, they talk about how her housework, her house skills.
Yeah.
Household spells. There we go.
Yeah.
Her household spells magic is just like insane. She also knows quite a fair amount of medical magic, which of course you would need to with
the twins.
The twins. And I would argue Charlie.
Oh yeah. Dragons.
How many creatures? He was totally that kid who like came home from like playing outside with Bill and was like, I have pockets of snakes. So that charm work she was very, very good at. And you see how thoughtful she is with the first sweater, Ron tells her that. So she's close with all her kids, as close as she can be with so many of them and trying to keep track of all of them. Yeah. Ron at some point gets a chance to tell her that he doesn't think he'll get any presents. And so, she goes nuts. Yeah. And makes all this homemade stuff. Yeah. And the first sweater he gets is this emerald green to match him and his mother's eyes.
That's so thoughtful. She cares so much. And it's absolutely gorgeous. She knows that Harry is like famous in their world, but she treats him like any other kid. Just wants to protect him. And like, it's so beautiful. Yeah, I think she does start out pretty strong. And you enjoy her. Yeah, you enjoy her as the books go on, and you see her sending like Easter eggs and so cute,
making different sweaters every year for them. Yep, and all of the homemade food, which I think is very, very sweet. There's something that Dumbledore says about her in later books where he's like, okay, let's get you inside where Mrs. Weasley will surely talk about how you're wasting away, like something along those lines. So you do get those sweet comfort mom vibes that Harry desperately has wanted and needed his whole life. Yeah. So in those ways, I think she's great. Were there any other great things in the earlier books that you wanted to mention too?
Something that confused me because of who she is in later books was in the second book, she argues against telling Harry. It felt very like needed to reveal information about Sirius.
Oh, she does it the whole time. She doesn't want to tell him ever. Yeah. She doesn't want to tell him anything ever.
She doesn't want to, which really frustrates me.
Because it's more dangerous for him not to know.
Well, that's like it. If this particular one, and I think it's book 3.
5 too is also when she decides not to tell anybody anything. Yeah,
it comes back in book 5, and it just doesn't. In book 3, she agrees with Fudge about not keeping Sirius a secret and downplaying that Harry is in danger.
Yeah, like, she doesn't know it. She doesn't know him at all. Yeah, Arthur, on the other hand, is like, no, I know exactly what this kid's gonna do.
Yeah, like it. I feel like she would be more worried about the danger he's in, and maybe not want to tell him still, but would at least be concerned about the danger. Like specifically in book 3, she argues like, oh, it's fine, like it'll be.
Yeah, I mean, she does the same thing with Ginny all the time. Yeah, she just assumes that they will never be in danger because she will never be allowed. Yeah, which just drives me nuts. I'm like, you can't treat these people like glass. Like you can't treat Harry, which Harry, she grows out of that pretty quick.
Yeah.
Ginny, she almost never does.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating because it just is tough on her, which we've talked about in our last episode, you know?
Like,
so
moms can be flawed and like,
yes.
It's a weird mixture of overprotection and it's a very, it's an interesting thing.
And not understanding the kids, not understanding people super, super well. That's what I understand her overprotectiveness. It does get incredibly frustrating in later books. Yeah. But I understand the like mama bear overprotection. I don't understand her lack of knowledge about her kids, especially when she goes out of her way to talk to them and send them things and do all that, because it just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense that she doesn't know Bill and like Ginny has to correct her and be like, Bill isn't really a normal guy. Like he's literally a curse breaker for Gringotts, constantly trying to mess with their hair, which is a fun mom thing. Yeah, that's cute. But I was very angry too about how she doesn't understand the twins at all. You're not seeing the kind of magic they're doing and you just assume they're going to go in the ministry. She never brings up Charlie. She's never like, oh, Charlie is doing great things. It's, oh, why aren't you doing this like Bill and Percy? Yeah. So it's just weird to me that you've already had one kid do kind of a very different and is being very successful at it. He's a very they wouldn't have brought Charlie Weasley to the Triwizard Tournament if he wasn't one of their top guys. Like they had vowed that no one would die. Yeah. They need their top trainers there or their top people. So I just don't understand her lack of understanding of her kids' desires. Yeah. You know, it felt like playing into the idea of her being a mom that wants the kids to follow a very specific path, but so many of the other children hadn't by that point. Like that's why it just doesn't, it's not like every single, like it was a family thing that was passed down and they broke it. It's extra tension between her and the twins. Which I mean, be concerned. Don't get me wrong. I would also be concerned if my kids were like, I dropped out of school and I'm making a joke shop. Like, like that. What are you doing with your lives? Like, I understand that. Would I burn all their stuff and throw it all out and tell them they're wasting their lives away and they need to go into the ministry and how dare they not get enough owls? Yeah, no, I wouldn't. Yeah, that's what, there are things like that where it feels like it's very close to being on track with who we want Molly to be, but it just gets pushed into this... goes too far. Yeah, into like a caricature of it. You do get the feeling that the twins love her and have always caused her trouble and that she loves them. Like they buy her beautiful things when they have money to do. Like, oh my gosh, that she proudly wears. She's so excited. Yeah, it's so her sweet. Hat and her necklace. And So I wanted the scene of her like being worried about the twins, but not yelling and constant nagging. And that felt weird. You get it. I don't mean to skip so far ahead, but I feel like in book 2... and book 2, she's pretty much the same. Yeah. Book 3, you get it a little bit with that discussion in the Leaky Cauldron with Arthur, where she's like, don't tell him. Yeah. Going into book 4, this is where I think book 3 a little bit, and it just gets the ball rolling of the inconsistencies and the problems with Molly Weasley, because in book 4 you have the sweet moments of course she would come to the Triwizard Tournament to support him and to bring Bill because Arthur's busy. I love that for them. I love that she did that and came like those two. Like that's so sweet. And that wonderful comment that we mentioned in the last episode of she's there and they're all chatting before like the last meal before the maze, and Harry's like, this feels like home because Mrs. Weasley's there, and Ginny and Bill and almost the whole family's there, and that's really exciting. You get those like sweet moments, but then you get moments of her sending Hermione little baby Easter eggs while everyone else gets big, beautiful ones because she's mad because she thinks this girl lived in your house. Yeah, I don't like. You're telling me you don't know that their relationship is always platonic. Yeah, like you're telling me you don't know them enough that you believe Rita Skeeter. That was so frustrating because she just over your knowledge of the kids. Just yelled at Cedric's dad about believing Rita Skeeter, and then hypocritically believes Rita Skeeter about the relationship with Harry. To the point where she is rude. Like she's described as being mean. to Hermione.
I don't
Like,
understand.
are you serious?
Like, be consistent. If she's like going to be someone who does believe Rita, then like make her someone who believes Rita. We get that she loves Lockhart in the second book, which is so cute.
It's
and,
so funny. It's so funny.
It's very sweet.
Yeah.
But it
such
does,
a mom thing.
Yeah. Like they have
that
the
makes
crush on
sense.
this, like
yeah. Mom fancies her or him. Sorry, mom fancies him.
Yeah, it's really sweet. And then in book 2, you have the iconic Howler. And then I think what happened, which is so deserved.
How dare you steal that car?
Yeah, like it's so deserved. Like
not quote the entire movie thing for them.
They're left at the train station without a car. So
the
like,
best, I love that. Everything about that moment is so funny.
So
and the best is when they sit there and Minerva looks at them and goes, "Do you not have an owl?
Could you not have
like,
just waited for your parents?"
The gravity of them being like, yes, we could have just sent an owl.
Yeah.
If we thought the border was closed. Like, cracks me up. And her, I do think it's funny that they add in the movie, and I think it is very on par for Mrs. Weasley. Like, this didn't bother me at all. That in the Howler, in the books, they don't do this, but in the movie, the Howler like turns to Ginny and goes, "Oh, congratulations into getting
it's
into
very
Gryffindor,
sweet.
Ginny.
Yeah.
Your father and I are very proud."
Yeah.
So, that was a cute addition in the movie that I'm like, that's believable.
Yeah. And you do get in the first few books, I loved, and it's in the movie too, like that, where she switches so quickly from like, "Harry, it's so good to see you," and then yells at one of her kids.
Yes.
Like that is so endearing.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It feels so
and it's
real.
all throughout the whole book where she'll go back and forth.
Yeah.
And she never gets their names wrong.
I know. It's so
that is
like,
the one generic mom thing they did not give her. She always gets their names right.
Yeah.
The only times she quote unquote doesn't is when Fred and George are just being
when they're messing with her.
Dumb.
Yeah. Yeah. But I feel like the Howler was so iconic in book 2, and then so much of the later books just feels like she's constantly like sending a Howler to everyone.
Yeah.
I need the rest.
But not a Howler, just regular her.
Yeah.
In Howler form.
Yeah. There's like, I want the rest of her.
It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating because she has unnecessary Hermione hate.
Yep.
And then book 5 is where it really goes off the deep end.
Yeah.
Book 5 drives me nuts. I understand her being very protective of her kids. I get that.
As
she
should.
saw both
the
her
world's
brothers.
falling apart.
Her brothers both died in the last order.
Yeah.
I get it. I get you're worried. But I understand not telling them the details of stuff. I understand that they should be at the meetings. They shouldn't be getting on the inner workings of what's happening, because that can be dangerous. I understand that. But keeping them out of the dark of absolutely everything, especially Harry, who
is in the middle,
is in the middle and hasn't been told anything because he's been in the Muggle world for a month and a half, is dangerous. It's dangerous to not even tell the bare bones of, okay, we think they're infiltrating. They haven't shown their cards yet. These are the people we think are in the circle. Be wary of them at school. Like that kind of stuff. Like that bare minimum. She wasn't willing to tell anybody. And her screaming match where she's like fiery red, screaming at everybody, and gets so upset when Lupin, Arthur, and Sirius both side against her. And she's so mad that she still barges in and screams at them. Yeah. And Lupin has to be like, fine. Are you serious? Are you for real? I don't think what they said to Harry was too much. I think they told him just enough to keep him in the loop so that he would understand just a broad stroke of what they're doing, but not give him so much information that if they did take him or if something did happen, that he would endanger anyone or himself. Yeah. Sirius handled it really, really well.
Yeah. So, the tension between Sirius and Molly she was almost put into so many of these last books as conflict that there's
she gets jealous of him. She hollers at him. He's more my son than yours. Why can't he be my son? You've been in prison. Because that's his fault.
Yeah. Like he was just wrongly accused and survived Azkaban. I'm sorry. I was a little busy trying not to die.
He immediately is nice to her after those conflicts happen. He's one of the first people to come in and like help her and comfort her and be like, this is what needs to be done in the house. Yeah. And everything. And she doesn't read that way to me. She reads to me as like, we're pretending it didn't happen. Yeah. But like, I was right.
Well, yeah, I think what frustrates me is she is allowed as a strong woman You're allowed to be completely terrified. You're allowed to be so confused about what to do. You're all of the Bogart thing broke my heart. I think
the Bogart thing. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about Mrs. Weasley's Bogart because she sees everybody dead, which is terrifying. Yeah. It's absolutely terrifying. It's heart-wrenching. Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful moment that Ginny is not included in.
It's weird, right? That,
every single one of her kids is mentioned, and very bluntly. Yeah. It's mortifying. It's like dead twins, dead Percy, dead Harry, dead Ron, is like how it's phrased.
Yeah.
And Ginny is not one of them. Mm-hmm. And I truly think it's because she puts her on a pedestal and is this glass thing that if she locks up, she will never get anywhere where she could be dangerous.
Like ignoring the possibility so much that her subconscious Bogart won't even show Ginny as being dead. Like cannot even fathom it. And like there is something so beautifully heartbreaking about that moment of Harry finding her like that because she can't get rid of a Bogart that I think is supposed to help us understand why she is the way she is in book 5. But we never really get the way she's written is not because of her fear. It feels like she's becoming someone who is just completely in conflict rather than someone who is dealing with a whole bunch of other emotions because we never get to work through them. We never we never talk about it.
She just pretends it doesn't happen. She moves on and like pretends that everything is fine. Yeah. Whereas, which is why that juxtaposition of her and Sirius in this book, Sirius reads to me as you're in my house. Yeah. We're living together. We're trying to make this work. So we're going to be cordial. Whereas Molly has a couple moments where she goes from screaming match or whatever to suddenly having this brilliant idea of, great, well, then things are going to be like this. Yeah. And like puts on a face. Yeah. And she doesn't apologize for anything. She doesn't understand what she's doing is wrong a lot of the times. Like, yeah. And she's allowed to be flawed. She's a human. Oh, of course. Of course. But it doesn't feel like the Molly the kind of empathetic Molly that we get in the first few books. Yeah. And that's what she feels like. I just feel like she's always screaming. I just feel like she's always screaming and upset. She's either crying because of Percy because, oh my God, the trauma. Let's actually have her like talk about how hard it is to deal with the fact that her son has cut himself off in the middle of a war. For the wrong side. He's being dumb. Like, that's traumatic. That's mortifying. But nobody ever talks to her about it. No. They literally say the twins and Ginny are like, don't mention Percy. Yeah. It's like, could someone talk? Maybe if we just had a couple more of like Molly expressing herself a little bit more than just screaming, we could forgive the screaming. Because I just wanted to know that it was coming from a place of terror. Right. And the only thing we see that is the kids dying, which, I mean, even if they had mentioned in the books, how cool would it have been to have a scene of her, maybe they catch her and this was like the final straw, the final time that they're trying to like beg them to be in the meetings. And she finally breaks down and goes, you weren't there when my brothers died. Yeah. Just like that there's trauma coming up, that to have a moment of like, this is dangerous. This is life or death. This isn't the funny, extendable ears. Yeah. That would have made it a little more understandable, but it just came off as preachy. That's not organically flawed, just preachy. And that's what I think why I say like stereotype's the wrong word, because she is playing a lot of things that are happening with this character, but it feels two-dimensional at times because we don't get the side of like what is causing her to all of a sudden be a mess of them. Like she's constantly crying, which I would be too, like and yelling, and I wanted a little bit in the narrative of understanding where she's coming from. Yes. Like you said, she was a howler. Yeah. A lot of it. The entire end of the series. And like her family keeps getting attacked. Can you oh my God. Her youngest daughter gets attacked in book 2. Arthur gets attacked by a snake. Ron gets poisoned. George loses an ear. Arthur wasn't supposed to survive. Really? Arthur was not supposed originally. I can't remember what article this is in, but she had thought about killing him in that book and then realized maybe she shouldn't. Arthur was one of the people who was not supposed to survive the series. That's fascinating. And that would have been tough because Arthur, their relationship is very interesting because he understands the kids. Mm-hmm. He understands them completely. And he doesn't treat Ginny like she's a piece of glass. You know, he's not like, yeah, go fight in the war. But
yeah. And also, like, it's funny to think about like her treating Jenny like a piece of glass because she's the first child and the only child to get directly hit by Voldemort.
Yeah.
The reality of her being killed is much bigger.
Much higher.
And then she's the one who's not in the Bogart scene.
I don't know.
I will say with Arthur, what makes me laugh, and this relates to Molly, is that he is the Muggle enthusiast. But Molly is the one who does the Muggle things, like send a letter to Harry with all the stamps on it and orders Muggle taxis. Mm-hmm. So she's the one who handles it.
To do it.
Yeah. Even though he's the one who knows about it, supposedly.
Right. And also it gets a little frustrating sometimes because you get the Fred and George aspects of ingenuity and curiosity from Arthur. Yeah. You can see that. And this is another one of the things where I'm like, Molly, do you understand the people you live with? I understand the like, oh my gosh, the car that he illegally changed, and like that kind of stuff like is really, but when she's thrilled that he got promoted at work and doesn't have to work with the Muggle stuff anymore because it was so silly.
But that's what he loves.
Do you know him? Like, do you know him? Like, you know, like I get it's quirky, fun, silly,
but that's what he loves.
right. And it so easily could have been, in some books it is, this cute little like dad, like Ginny says when they find out that him and this other doctor at
we're using the Muggle remedies
at Mungo's were like trying to use the stitches, which I mean makes a lot of sense. For that nothing was working. It makes total sense. It probably didn't make it worse. It just didn't help at all. Like, you know, and like Ginny about it was like, classic dad. Molly was furious like many times with him with stuff instead of taking the more relatable idea, I guess, is what I would think is like Ginny's aspect of it is like, dad again with the Muggle stuff. Dad.
Because at some point she had to have loved that about him, right?
I would hope so. Think. That's like a big part of his personality. We love that for him.
It's his thing. So I hope that you would like have fallen in love with that part of who he is, like that quirkiness. Yeah. You know?
Right. Like, so I just... Okay, so I did find the article.
Yes.
So, fun fact, Arthur Weasley was originally slated to die in the Order of the Phoenix, but he got to survive the book series in exchange for Rowling adding 2 more lives to the body count in Deathly Hallows.
Was was Fred the body count add? Or were Tonks and Lupin the body count add?
Oh, gosh.
That's really interesting.
Sirius's death, it says, like, likely didn't have anything to do with it, but... Yeah.
I will say that this is also something I wish was in the book because it kind of helps justify the like craze she's in and screaming like tension that she feels in this whole 5th and 6th books is that she has the most to lose of anyone.
She does.
The Weasleys have the most to lose. Her entire family is involved in this and ends up in the fight at Hogwarts. Like, the likelihood of her family being affected, is so much higher than anyone else. So it stands to reason that she would be in a chaotic state and a stressful state. But I wish someone would have just, like, mentioned, like, hey, she has all of her children involved in this now.
Her whole life that she has built with these kids as a by choice stay-at-home mom, which that aspect of her, which we mentioned before, she handles very well. Yeah. Juggling all those kids.
Can't even imagine.
She does it. Yes, she forgets things here and there, but she always remembers their names. Yeah. Yeah. Like, that's a lot, you know? There's definitely lots of parts of the movie that, and the actress is great. She's so good. Portrays her very, very motherly and more of a like quirky mother as opposed to this like aggressive. Yeah. I'm just going to make this happen because I'm going to tell you to do it and you're going to do it because I told you so. Like,
I do think the version of Molly in the movies becomes the Molly we wanted.
Yes.
In the books, which is
I agree.
Why it's interesting for me to have seen that first and then to read it being like, oh, this is not what I expected. So I was really grateful for that second chance of movie Molly because she does. Yeah. That's what makes her final duel so amazing.
Yeah.
is because we have like felt like she's this mama bear who's like, don't touch my daughter, you bitch. Like,
and that line was taken straight from the book, but it's not as satisfying in the book as it is in the movie.
Yep.
One thing about the movie, though, that I am very disappointed in, and this is a lot of people in the fandom, I've seen a couple of things about this, people being upset, is Voldemort and Bellatrix dispersing into the air when they die as if they're not human. Like, no, the whole point is that they are just human.
Yeah, like that they're dead.
Like Bellatrix just crumples and she is just human.
Yeah.
And they won, you know? So that was a little bit not as satisfying of that. But the line, that's my daughter.
So good.
Was so in the movie is great. Like, oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, you're just screaming. You're like, yes, get her. Like, it's like, she just like lost a child. Like, there's it feels so satisfying. And it's still satisfying in the book, but it's not as like, I'm not like
different.
Rallying at the same way that I am in the book.
Yeah, the movie definitely sets that up to be better. Yeah. And I know we've talked a lot about her faults and things that there are some faults that she has that could have just remained faults and they didn't need to like be dug into so much that she is a terrible human sometimes. Yeah. But speaking of that, shall we go into our least favorite thing?
Our like rant about
Molly Weasley.
Well, the woman, we talked a little bit about the woman on woman hate last time with Jenny, and this full on from Mrs. Weasley too, and it just came from all sides to Fleur. And I've never been a fan of women on women hate. Growing up, you see the like cattiness of the high school life and the mean girls and all of that. Yeah.
Like you have even in this series, you have the like Pansy Parkinson generic evil, like snotty girl gang. Like, you know, and that I didn't mind. I'm like, that's what she is. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. You know, you get some jealousy here and there. With romantic interests and things, understandable. Yeah. This Fleur stuff just felt like women on women hate because we need something funny. You know, it's funny.
Yeah, and it starts with Hermione in book 4, where she just like is so rude to Hermione, and then the Fleur thing just like. And Fleur, so we had to bounce a little bit back and forth, but Fleur's like introduced to saying like some rude things, and
we'll connect these two because this makes me so frustrated. So, but even how Fleur is introduced with her rude comments, a lot of them are justified because she has to leave. She has left her country, not even just her school, and is choosing with a couple other students to give up one of their last 2 years at school, if not their last year at school, to stay in a place that is not home. Yeah. So like some of the comments I could understand. Also, it seems to me that Fleur is very hard to please, but once you prove yourself to her,
loyal. Just can do no like it's amazing. That's why it's so interesting. It feels almost stereotypically French.
Yes.
Very like plays into that stereotype. But the Mrs. Weasley hate, I could have been okay if Mrs. Weasley wasn't a big fan of Fleur. Yeah. And everyone else was like, she's not my favorite. But because of the rest of the hate, it all just makes me angry.
It's just, like, and why she's upset with Fleur makes me so mad.
It's not like gets another daughter, gets to talk wedding, which she like tries to get out of at every chance that Fleur tries to talk with her about it. And
it's not like, oh, I'm upset because this is the first wedding. This is the first. I'm giving away one of my kids. Oh my gosh. Like that's not what she's upset about. She's upset that it's specifically Fleur because at a second notice, she's like, but like Tonks. Yeah. And I'm sorry, you didn't. Once again, another one of her, I swear, if she was a D&D character, her wisdom would be like -10. Her perception of not understanding that Tonks is there because of Lupin and you're trying to force her on Bill?
Yeah, like I'm confused. Like, did you not know that's what it was like? Because there is a lot of discussion of like Tonks coming to her for comfort and like seeing Tonks there. So I'm like, oh, this is the inside of her telling her about Lupin because she's one of the few people she can talk about.
And Sirius and all that. And all those things. And then you looked at that and went, yes, marry my son who's engaged, please.
Yeah. What? Like, I don't believe that. I don't believe she would. That's very Slytherin feeling of like the manipulation of things. And like, I'm Slytherin, so like, but that's a side of things that is very possible in the Slytherin like side of things. And her need for everyone to be ambitious, like when Ron's prefect and she like is so happy when Arthur gets promoted.
I will say I do appreciate that Ron, and part of this is Ron. but she is willing to get them a new thing.
Yeah.
And when he says broom, she is immediately disheartened.
Yeah.
Ron takes it as, oh, they're expensive.
Yeah.
But I think she's a little disappointed that it's not going to be useful in life. But she still does it.
Yeah.
She still gets it. And Ron immediately runs out and goes, I should really tell her to get one of the cheap, clean sweeps. I'm sure there's it just needs to be new. It doesn't need to be
sweet. It was
really
sweet.
sweet. Like, you could see their relationship. You could see that, which is baffles me. I'll talk a little bit about Ron and Harry Potter. In Harry Potter, I'm saying, in Hermione's thing.
Yeah.
But like, he's very observant of his mom.
Yeah.
And like, that moment was really sweet.
Yeah.
You had such a sweet moment there.
Yeah.
There's so many opportunities
Yeah.
for you to be understanding of your kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then you jump off and do like what you mentioned to get us on this topic of like, well, just be a minister.
Yeah, like I don't like, and so the Fleur thing, it also, she's just blatant about it. And that's what, like, I feel like if she really didn't like it, she'd have like conversations with Bill secretly.
Yeah, you didn't pull Bill aside and be like, hey, I'm not super cool with her.
It's blatant. And it's, as I've grown older, it's more and more frustrating to read books that are women on women hate and not rivalries. You know what I mean? Like, there's a difference between like someone being a nemesis and being mean to someone who's trying very hard to be in the fit. Like, she's trying to include her in the wedding planning. She's there for a long time instead of with her family. She could have taken Bill, like, you know, to her family if they wanted to. Yeah,
and when Bill suggested get to know the family, she was like, yes, I am here.
Yeah.
And she gives up so much. Yeah. And it is not mentioned enough that she gives up so much during the course of these books. Yeah. It just doesn't make any sense. Molly becomes that like terrible mother-in-law. Yeah. That everyone dreads.
Why would she?
And it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. She could be suspicious. It is like her, first kid. Get it? Like, I get that.
Be suspicious. Be nervous. Be like, oh no, does this mean Fred's not?
Are they too fast?
Is Fred going to be, or not Fred, what am I saying?
Bill.
Wow. Yeah. Bill. Yeah. too many Weasley boys. She'd be like, you know, maybe Bill is now going to spend all the holidays with Fleur's family in France. Like that. I mean, that's a big thing that happens with families, and it's a big adjustment period. So I understand her being maybe wary and nervous and her even maybe considering Tonks as like someone who is close by. Yeah. But for her just to hate her. Yeah. And it seems like all of the girls are like that. Yeah. Ginny, Hermione, and her are like, she's just pretty. She's so rude. She's so
makes me so mad.
Dumb. Like, even when she's talking about Fleur mentions, which this to me, some stuff she does come off as like rude. Yeah. But this one didn't come off as rude to me at all, because I think she was just more of like making a statement of, she desperately tries, I guess not desperately, she casually tries to make an effort to get into conversations. Fleur does. Because Bill, it's going to be her family. Yeah. She, you know, Bill asked her to. She's trying. Yep. And so when they're all panicking about, oh my gosh, the owls are coming. Yeah. The notices for the owls. They're all panic about it. And she like redirects a little and goes, oh, you know, we do it. I think it's better how we do it, because we don't stress ourselves out 5th year. We wait until 6th and later to do it. And like, as she's saying that, they literally blow her off. And I don't think she's being rude there. I think she's just making conversation.
Yeah. Like, how interesting. Let's talk about this other school that we never get to know.
like what? It just didn't make any sense to me. Yeah. Quite how much hate. Yeah. There was, and they dislike that she's nice to Harry. Like, she respects Harry so much, so much, so much, because, and well deserved. Because, like we mentioned before, and this is obviously this moment we're going to be going back and forth between the two of them a lot. I feel, when he came out of the water with her, like, her view on him changed entirely. He gained her respect that day, and her respect means a lot.
Her respect means so much. Like, I will say, like, Fleur fascinates me, and like, I really loved reading about her in the books, because, you know, you don't get a lot of
she's not really in the movies.
She's not really in the movies, and she's a really great character. And like, I feel like we can go back and forth like through the things. So like, catching up. Oh
no, absolutely, yeah. Let's go back and catch up on her, so that we can meet at the climactic moment of the two. So jumping back for Fleur, getting into her.
Yeah. So she comes in for the Triwizard tournament with Beauxbaton and girls and boys schools, which it really frustrated me that they, in the movies, they made it an all girls school, because then it felt like the only reason a girl could get in is because it's a girl's school. Yeah. Like, that really frustrated me. Yeah. Like, I don't.
And They make it seem like everybody's there and they're learning. No, in the books, they brought only about a dozen per school. And that was the best of the best. They brought their best people, their 12 best people from their school. And that's it.
Yeah.
She already, who knows what hurdles her and Crumb had to go through to even be selected to go. Well, not Crumb probably didn't have to go through. He's a professional quiz player. Like he obviously has skills. But like for her to go through all that to even before she even got to Hogwarts.
Yeah. To spend her last year in a foreign like place. She's written to be disliked. And like you can tell the author trying very hard to make you dislike her. And it just did the opposite thing for me.
No, it's hard. Like, it's hard to dislike her. Like even in the beginning when they're arguing over like who put your name in the goblet of fire.
Yeah.
When you're meeting her, everyone else is like, you know, Karkaroff is like, well, then we get 2 kids. Like everybody is screaming about that. And Fleur's comments are, he's a child.
Yeah, thank you. Someone is like trying to stop this from happening. Like, well, how is Fleur and Maxine the only one being like, this is not okay, everyone?
He's just so young. Like, which in Fleur's case, she's 17, maybe 18 at that point.
Yeah.
And Harry's barely 14.
Yeah.
In the wizarding world, yes. I wrote down like the fact that she even like is the only person talking about how this is not okay. Yeah. Talks about like that she's just very outspoken and not in a bad way. Like I really enjoy that about her. No, she's confident.
But what I was so disappointed in this 4th book is that she's the one who messes up in the second. Like she doesn't get the second round. That's she like the only person who is a woman in this now like doesn't get to finish the second task and is taken out immediately in the last task. Doesn't really get to participate at all. And I think I also liked her because she was the female in the Triwizard Tournament.
Right. Like, do you want to hear the fan theories about that?
I do.
So one thing is going to the first event of the Triwizard Tournament, you have a lot of theories and discussion of like how they're trying to figure out how to defeat this dragon, right? And you find out later what Sirius was going to tell them and what other people have talked about is their eyes are their weakest. So Crumb did exactly what everybody kind of had been like, this is the best way to do it. Yeah. You know, easiest way, best way to do it. And he did it. Great. Then you had Cedric, who obviously had the least amount of time to prepare. Yeah. But he still did some pretty impressive magic, like turning a stone into a full Labrador. Yeah. Get it, Cedric. But that was, you know, trying to distract. Yeah. Trying to figure that out. And then Harry obviously got his Nimbus 2000. Or no, Firebolt.
Firebolt at that point, yeah.
Firebolt and scooped it up using his other skills. Fleur put it to sleep.
Isn't that amazing? You're not supposed to be able to penetrate that hide with magic.
Yeah. And she puts it to sleep. She scores very high. She only gets points off because it, you know, lights her skirt on fire. Yeah. Which also seemed like a silly thing.
Like, why are you wearing a skirt?
We need to give her
fighting a dragon?
Yeah, I can tell you. The fan theory, headcanon, is that was so powerful that they needed to get rid of her first because they thought that she had the best chance of winning. So they knocked her out quickly because, I mean, you saw earlier in the books multiple people stunning a dragon to try and get it to calm down. Work. And it took so many to eventually get it to calm down. So for her, because they even say that she's one of the fastest. Yeah. Literally all of her time was spent like getting rid of the fire on her body, you know? Yeah. So, and even that was very minimal because she didn't have big old skin grafts. Like poor Cedric comes out and half his body's all wrapped up like, thanks, Harry. Yeah. So, you know, she succeeded so well. That's the headcanon. The headcanon is that she was directly targeted. I do also enjoy in the books, because in the movie this doesn't happen. In the books, Moody himself takes down Fleur. Yeah. Like didn't trust Crumb to. He did it himself first. So that's kind of where that headcanon comes is, okay, a bunch of little Grindylows.
Yeah, it felt so weird, right?
That seems weird. And then when she's down already and you find out that it was the Death Eater himself came and was like, this one needs to go. Yeah. That's a big deal.
I would have wanted that pointed
headcanon, out. Yeah, like, I enjoy it a lot. Because in the movies... And I understand it. I understand in the movies you have Crumb doing it and you see her, because you don't get to see anything happen with her in the maze in the books. So I understand that choice. But it does make it that headcanon a little stronger. And I love it.
That makes me
And
feel
I
so
go
much
by
better.
it
Like because she's the only woman we get in this tournament.
And they make her like last in everything.
Yeah.
And she wasn't last in the first one. In the first thing, Crumb was.
Yeah.
Or Cedric was. Cedric was the worst. And her and Crumb were in the middle. I have my notebook somewhere else that had their exact points. But I was also frustrated because they didn't add the points together to move them on.
That was weird.
They just took the points from, because I'm like, she got way more points than some others did so I'm like, how is she still?
Yeah.
Because like Cedric did really bad in the, I mean, he still did it, but he did pretty poorly in the first thing. So I'm like, how is he tied for first?
Yeah. It doesn't. Yeah.
Like that doesn't line up. So yeah. So I'm glad that makes you feel better.
That makes me feel so much better. It's so frustrating.
She's great.
and I adore how she's described. Even though I'm mad that she got kicked out, I really adored in the second how much she's described just having to be pulled back by Maxim to get to her sister.
Madame Maxime is half giant. Like she is so strong.
Yeah.
So for her to rip away from this woman is really impressive.
Yeah.
And then you have this sweet moment of, and you helped.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's like, yeah. Like it's so and like I just love how much she loves her sister.
Yes.
And like it just proves how important family is to her.
Yeah.
Because Harry did that for her, she'll do anything.
Oh yeah.
For him.
Oh my gosh,
It's so powerful that she is that concerned about her family, and that's why I really liked her. Like she was trying to like I really liked her as this like really amazing champion, and then I get so mad at the end of the book when she's like, I think I'm gonna just get a part-time job improving my English. I'm like, excuse me?
Yeah,
you were the champion of Beauxbaton and you have no ambitions outside of school?
Yeah, like that was confusing to me. I do like her and Bill together.
Oh, I do. Very much so.
And I do like how they meet. Yeah. I think that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this was a play to get his attention or what,
I can't tell.
It is. I mean, we don't know enough about her for me to be able to be like, I wish she did this, kind of like we did with Ginny and Luna.
Yeah.
You know them. Yeah. But Fleur, I'm not sure what she would have wanted to do. Yeah. I imagine her still wanting a family.
Yeah. And I like family's really important to her. And I like the idea of her getting the job specifically to get to know Bill, because she then like goes after what she wants.
Yeah. Get it, girl.
And, like that's kind of fun to think about, but it's just not there. Like I just don't understand what she wants. Is her family rich enough that she doesn't need it? Like, does she have her own apartment working only part-time at like Green Guy? Like, it just feels...
We don't really know.
Yeah. It feels like it was just specifically social meet Bill for the author, not necessarily that was her plan.
Well, she met Bill at the
she did.
Goblet of Fire.
Yeah,
that's where she met him.
It does say that she sees him.
She met him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so like and that's really cute.
Yeah, I like to think that she's like, he works at Green Gods. Cool, maybe I'll work there this summer.
Yeah, that's yeah. No, absolutely, because they do get together pretty fast.
Yes,
it is. It's not super fast, but still fairly quick. And their relationship is fun. I think it's really cute and it's believable how much she loves Bill. Like the amount of time he is so thoughtful.
Yeah,
like all of these.
She loves him. Like they are like it's described that she's like feeding him turkey at dinner. Like they're just so like
they're like so cutesy. Like
it's so cute. And I'm just like,
and like you're telling me if Bill didn't like that, he'd let that happen?
Yeah.
Curse breaker. Yeah. Don't touch my hair, Mom, Bill.
Yeah. And it doesn't feel like he's under her spell. Like that's also like
no.
I love the heritage thing for her. I think that's amazing. Like that she has
her her grandmother's hair in her wand is so cool. It's a really cool touch. I love that was added, and Ollivander comments on it. Yeah. How it's finicky to use. Yeah. But I mean, that's awesome.
It's so cool that she has that history. And I bet, like I was thinking about she's described as taking Roger Davies to the Yule Ball, and that he doesn't really listen to anything she's saying. No.
And what's so funny, a small Roger Davies tidbit that I noticed later that cracked me up is later. So he is absolutely under her spell, as much as Ron was under her spell, you know? Yeah. And Davies may have been more so, because later in the books, he is seen exclusively with blondes. Oh! You see him exclusively dating and making out with blondes.
I see what he got stuck on.
Never quite got over Fleur, did you?
No, never did. Well, like how hard must life? How much does it probably suck to like never know if like a guy is genuinely interested in you?
Oh, truly.
Like, yes, you get the fawning over.
Of course, she enjoyed her time with
like,
Roger
as
Davies.
anyone would.
Of course,
you know.
She's like, I'm going to a dance.
They're found in the bushes.
We're gonna make out.
She's here
We're
for
gonna
a year.
have fun.
Like,
yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna enjoy my time while she were here, and that's great. And I think it says a lot about her too, with her background of unintentionally beguiling men.
Yep.
I think it's very interesting, her relationship with Cedric.
Yeah.
She is very close to Cedric, and she respects him very quickly. And you see them chatting and talking quite a bit. And yes, there was a moment that maybe you thought maybe she was trying to get him to ask her. But like, it's never weird after that.
No.
Like, she still is seen like walking out with him. And like, it's mentioned a lot of that she is bridging that gap where she could be hanging out with the Beauxbatons like she is at the very beginning of the book. But instead, she's choosing to
actually go meet the competitors. And like, they are experiencing something together.
Right.
You know?
And they read very friend to me. Like, Cho doesn't make any comments and doesn't, you don't see her making looks when he goes to you see Fleur. Like, it's very much, and I could see Cedric being like that too, of very just like not super beguiled by her and just seeing her as a person.
Yeah.
So that also may be why she,
for sure,
like,
and Crumb
was like, this guy's great.
Crumb gets invited to the wedding. Yeah, you know, like that's they had
she invites him
one tournament together, and now he gets to come to the wedding.
Yeah, she's like, this was an important part of my life.
Yeah,
if you'd like to come on over. Yeah,
it's
I think it's really cool. She's it's just I don't. Yeah, Miss Weasley, I don't understand your hate.
She gives up so much for the wedding to be where it is in book 6.
She gives up. She in book 6 could have said, Bill, I am not getting married here. Yeah. Let's leave the country. Yeah. What's Wilmer going to do? Come to France? The war's not in France. Yeah. It's in England. Like,
it's safer in France. Let's
could
all
have
go
left.
to France.
She could have taken Bill and left. Yeah. She could have left Bill and taken her family and been like, I'm not even letting my sister touch foot in this country that is imploding in upon itself. Yeah. Like, no. She did not have to be a part of this war. Nope. And instead, she chose to. Yep. And that is not given enough credit.
Yeah. And that's the, like,
not at all.
I do like, as much as I absolutely despise the woman hate that's in it, I think it's because of the payoff you're supposed to get when Bill gets attacked. And I just like...
And this moment, Fleur, I love her. Yeah. I love everything about her. Molly handles it a little weird. Yeah. But that moment... When she finally has this blow up, you discover so many things in this page of screaming match of that Fleur has been having in her mind for now the better part of a year. Yeah. Because it is revealed that she knows the whole time that they've been treating her like absolute garbage. Yep. Because she's not stupid. No, she's not very intelligent. She knows exactly what they're doing. She tells them that they've been rude to her this whole time and has all these lovely moments of, her first reaction is not, I won't love him. Her first reaction is, you don't think he'll love me?
You think that poison's going to like affect how he feels about me?
And I think that's very powerful. I think it can be read as she is vain.
Oh, no.
But to me, it reads very much as, are you discrediting your own son?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, are you questioning Bill? Because we're going to fight about that. If you're not, we're going to fight about this.
Right, you're right. And then she moves on to the which is, I think it's fine for her to think that she's pretty. She is pretty. Like, come on, own it. So for her to be like, I'm pretty for the both of us, like, what the hell? Yeah.
It's not a secret.
Right. That iconic line, like, she was never in it. I mean, obviously he's pretty. Yes. Obviously he's pretty. Yeah. He is described as the pretty boy of the family. We love that for him. But like, that was, not why she was with him. Yeah. That was the added bonus, which is not needed to stay with him.
Yeah. I love that she gets a love with Bill like that. And I love that she tells off the people who insult that about her. Yeah. Like, how dare you think I'm shallow?
And to take the stuff from Mrs. Weasley.
Oh my God, when she pushes her aside.
Get out of here. You clearly don't understand him. Buy it. Yep. Because nobody says that to her. Nobody says, you're not understanding these people. Nobody calls Molly out for her terrible knowledge of her kids. Yeah. Yeah. Like, understanding, rather. Yeah. Not knowledge, but understanding of her kids. Yeah. So for her to like inadvertently say that is really impressive. And Molly is so blown away.
Yeah.
For her to sit down and start administering to Bill.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that she doesn't look at her when Molly's like, well, because her kind of weird give in, which I still would have liked an apology.
Yes.
I get that as Gryffindors, not many, I don't think almost any of the Gryffindors in this book
no, there's not a lot of apologies. No.
Dumbledore does a little bit, but it does not add up to how many things that he should be a couple of
that's true. That's true.
So I get her weird way of apologizing. I'm a Gryffindor. I can say that word. Yeah. Terrible apologies. I get it. So, but her being like, oh, I'll get this crown for you. It will look lovely for the wedding. Mm-hmm. I get it as I give my
it's an olive branch,
you guys can get married now.
It's like, we're gonna anyway, like, let's be real.
And her not looking at him, Fleur not looking at her and not taking her eyes off Bill as she continues her work and says, yes, that'd be fine.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I love that for her. I'm like, yes. Molly does not deserve a thank you for that. Yep. Like, it's, and then you have them like make up and like embrace and things. But I'm like, I think all this hate towards Fleur is for this moment. And I just don't know that you needed it. I think it's still a really powerful moment. Yeah. The moment could have happened without all that nonsense. And for Molly to immediately assume, this is just more of her not understanding people. Like her to immediately assume, oh, he was going to get married. Yeah. Fleur would have been gone a while ago. Yep. Like she doesn't need this shit. The war has been building for a while. Yeah. She is literally risking her life to be there with Bill. Yeah. Excuse you. Yeah. So, that. But moving on from Miss Weasley and diving more into Fleur. Yeah. Because I think we've talked about the rest of Mrs. Weasley. I will say there's a really cute interview of the actress who plays Molly Weasley talking about how beautiful her dress was.
Oh, I love that.
For the wedding.
I love
how beautiful
that.
her dress was.
Amethyst robes, you know.
Yes. And in the movie, she wears, I think she may wear green.
Yeah, I don't think it follows the wedding colors like the book said.
No, but it's really pretty. Yeah. And she's very, like, the actress is very thrilled with the dress that she gets to wear. Yeah. And she's like, I got to dance with Daddy Weasley. Like, yep. And so, that reads to me as like silly, sweet Molly. Yeah. So I do appreciate how much she brought to the role. Mm-hmm. But Fleur, with her wedding, some things that I could see as like maybe they're trying to be catty. We had talked about this because choosing colors, like, could have put Ginny in their colors of maybe pinks and stuff, but she didn't want it to clash with her hair. So instead she changed them to make them gold. Mm-hmm.
That actually is very considerate.
That's incredibly considerate.
It's written to make you not like her. But it's actually like,
and it makes her more endearing.
Really, after having planned a wedding now, like
that's a big deal.
Yeah, you actually have to think through some of the color choices with everyone. Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's just still reading at this time, all that she gave up for a wedding. Like, did she want a big wedding? Did she not? Like, did she care? Like, was
she wanted to get married in France?
Like, and now she's at the Burrow and they're celebrating. And the fact that Harry has a nice birthday celebration in the middle, like the day before the wedding, so then she's totally fine with him taking the thunder. She's not a bridezilla at all. It's I love that her dress is described as simple. Like, it's a simple white dress.
It's perfect. I love how that whole moment is described of her, because she's so pretty. Mm-hmm. She doesn't need it. And it was so beautiful that she chose this dress that normally her beauty is overpowering almost. And you see her, whereas because she dressed so simply, it's like describes something about like her beauty, like everyone was affected.
It's like radiated and
was radiating like beauty. Everyone felt beautiful. And she didn't make herself the queen of this party. Yeah. She shared, this may sound silly, but like she shared the beauty and energy with everyone around her. And I think that's beautiful. And I think they did do a pretty good job in the movie, because her dress is pretty simple outside of that stunning black peacock.
They took it the step further, I think, to make it feel magical.
Yes.
I think they did a really good job. And I liked who played Fleur. And I really enjoyed, like, her sister is mentioned a couple times, Gabrielle. I love that she's described as like mini Fleur, and that she gets kind of enamored with Harry Potter, how Ginny was in like the first book. You know, like,
he saved me.
Yeah, it's just really cute. Like, it's this famous wizard, and he saved me. Can you imagine going to school and being like, guys, Harry Potter saved me.
Like, because she doesn't know. She was so young at that point.
Yeah, I think she's 9.
She doesn't know
maybe?
she would have been, because she's 11 or so by the time you meet her when she's married.
Yeah.
When they get married. So yeah, she'd be like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's so, it's really cute, and their relationship is fun. And that's just another reason where it's like Fleur could have left and been with her sister and instead she stayed. Like, and then I think it's so fun that her mom married something that nobody expected. Like everybody was like, oh, this like shorter wizard who's like pleasantly plump. And like, I mean, he's so nice though. Like he is like the sweetest guy.
I love that her family just gets to be sweet. Like they're described as very pleasant and very complimentary, and that they're really
and they marry for love.
Yes.
They marry. That's something you had said to me earlier that I really wanted to nail on the head, that you're totally right. Their family marries for love. They're there for love. Their families are for love.
Yeah. And they could easily not, because they have the magic of the grandmother.
You're telling me that they couldn't be a Blaze?
They could be a trophy wife.
Blaze Zambiani's mother?
Yeah, like they could
like they easily could have done that. Yeah. And they chose not to. They chose to get married for love.
Yeah.
And it's
so sweet. It's so endearing. I'm like, the Delacours, like I just want to spend a summer in France with them, because they seem like such a lovely people, and that Molly and Arthur get along with them. That it just after we have the Bill werewolf attack explosion of stuff, then you get to see her actually like bringing Fleur in as this family member, and they move and get their own house, and
they live in this cottage. She allows so many things. I mean, Bill too, but she allows so many things to happen.
Yeah.
At this tiny cottage. She, there's Dobby's grave is always going to be at that beach.
Yeah.
Where she raises her kids.
They'll always
her 3 kids that she eventually has. That grave is going to be there. That constant reminder of what happened at that house. Her like finagling all the people and dealing with the goblin.
Yeah. Who, so rude to her. Yeah,
he was rude to everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was rough. You had Ollivander, who like she had to like bring back from the brink of death.
She has to be very skilled to care for all of those injuries.
Yeah, because she's the one doing it, not Bill.
Yeah,
and Bill's not going to work anymore.
Yeah,
but they very clearly state that she's the one who is doing that.
Yeah, with the Skelegro in her apron, like that. She's got to like. I mean, she's got to be a powerful witch. Like, she was a champion. She has the skills to do that. And I love that Bill and Fleur become the ones that Ron escapes to when he's not trying to let the family know what he did. Like, they became like a true safe haven.
Yeah. And that could have been awkward.
Yeah.
That could have been awkward for both Ron and Fleur.
Yeah.
But Fleur never, Ron gets a little blushy around her sometimes.
Yeah.
But Fleur never lets it affect her.
No.
That he tried to ask her out and then like ran away like an idiot.
Yeah.
She's fine with it.
Yeah.
She never brings it up. She never talks about it. She never behaves differently towards Ron.
Yeah. I think that's really, really telling. And something in the beginning of book 7 that I wrote for her is that she is the one after she joins in the decoy thing, puts herself in danger with the Delft Eaters, which is amazing.
Don't look at me, Bill. I'm hideous.
Yeah, that's so funny.
We love that. We love that.
But she's the one who demands to know who let the she's
the first person, and she's like, someone did this, and nobody corrects her because she's not wrong.
Yeah. Like everyone's afraid to say it, and she's just like, who did it? This is not okay. Like it felt very like after the Triwizard tournament, she's the only one being like, hey, what's happening?
Well, also this is kind of that thing where she has that really strong sense of, if you are in my group of people, I trust you, I respect you. Somebody's wronged Harry.
Oh yeah, she will rain fire down on whoever wronged Harry.
Somebody has threatened her family. Somebody has threatened Bill. Somebody, she just watched Mad Eye Moody get killed.
Yeah,
like Fleur saw it happen.
Yeah. So
for her to rally when, she wasn't as close with him, but she witnessed it.
Yeah.
And to come out and be like, we need to, we're getting to the bottom of this. This is like, who did it? Even. I love that she like stepped away from Mundungus too. She was like, you're smelly.
I don't like you. And she good instincts.
And she like puts herself between the twins. Like, I don't want to be with you.
Yep. Fleur is that kind of heroine who stands up for what she believes in and what she believes is right and takes action. She's very action based. She doesn't stand on the sidelines, wait for someone else to take charge. She does it. And I think that's why I really wanted Jenny to like her from the beginning.
Yes.
Because I feel like she's an amazing sister-in-law for
Right.
Ginny.
And instead it turned into, but she's like prettier than me. So
Yeah. And that's like it. And by the seventh book, Bill comes back and says Ginny sends her love when he comes back from Muriel's after dropping off Ollivander.
yeah, it's
You don't get to
just a
experience
casual. We just needed to know where Ginny was at that point.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
But no, them coming back to fight and do all that at the end. Because she came back too, didn't she?
Yes, she came back into the fight as well.
To fight.
Yeah.
Like that's...
Yeah, she came right into Hogwarts,
That's
a school she
huge.
was not even went to, like, to protect. Like
to fight in a war that she doesn't need to be involved with.
Yeah. Like, we
To
don't...
fight in a war that she could have. She risked her life, risked her husband's life, risked everything.
Yeah.
And she never needed to because she is not even from the same country.
Well, that's what it's hard. She's a good reminder that this was very specifically located in the UK.
This wasn't Grindelwald.
Yeah, it wasn't
Grindelwald
international.
took it across countries and went all over the place. Like Voldemort was very specifically, he hadn't quite gotten outside of the borders yet.
Yeah. So it would have been a lot safer for her to take everyone to France. It just would have been safer. Yeah. And it says a lot about her. We could have spent so much more time with her and not having hate.
Because she's not really in 5 at all. 5 she just mentioned because the twins are like, she's taking private lessons with Bill.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. The twins treat everybody the same with
so
relationships.
Funny.
They just like gossip about it and like move on.
Yeah. Are really excited about her cousins being at the wedding.
Oh, yes. Yes, of course. They're going to have a good time too.
Yep.
Come on. But yeah, book 6 could have, I don't know. They could have done her better, but
and
she is great. I enjoy her a lot.
The woman on woman hate, like, I understand that you're trying to build a narrative so you can have that big explosion, but it just felt too much.
Unnecessary.
Yeah.
There could have been tension without just hate for hate's sake. Yeah. And calling her phlegm just seemed so inappropriate.
Yeah. It seemed on a new level of like cattiness that we didn't need.
Yeah.
Because they're all
and like
older.
Rude to how she speaks and her country.
Yeah, she's speaking a second language. So part of the bluntness is just the fact that she's not speaking her first language too.
It's just rude. Yeah. It's beyond rude. It's unnecessary hate towards a fantastic heroine who went out of her way to do all this stuff that she didn't need to and helped this war
and I do think won. I think we get a little bit of Molly back in book 7 because we do have her like trying to keep them apart, but you understand it's because she's worried.
Yeah, but it makes it almost more dangerous.
It 100% does.
It's frustrating. Yeah. Because it's, once again, we don't get an explanation. She doesn't have that breakdown moment of, it's not, oh, you're going to get yourselves hurt. It's, oh, you're not going to school? Well, like, then
it's not about this.
I'll just keep you separated constantly. And it's like, you already know they're going.
Help
Ron
them.
Everyone else has. Yeah. Arthur and the twins helped Ron with the ghoul to make it look like him so that their family would be targeted. Yeah. Arthur has said multiple times, we're so far deep into this, we are the biggest blood traders. Yeah. Like, all the targets on your pure bloods, like, we're already there. Like, this is, it's, he's going to go and do this. They're going to go and do this. There's nothing we can do. Yeah. Multiple conversations of Dumbledore said to trust Harry and where she uses Dumbledore as an excuse plenty of times in book 6. So much. Suddenly in book 7, he's not an excuse anymore. Right. Yeah. It's just frustrating. I understand her wanting to be concerned and protect, but it just seemed weird because it also like tainted the last few days they had together. Yeah. Which was a bummer because they it's not like because they were doing all these chores. I mean, imagine if instead she nagged them as a mom would, nagged them about you really shouldn't do this, but let them play a last round of Quidditch with the twins and Bill and Charlie when they're all together. What if and Ginny? What if they all got to play Quidditch together, which would have been for the last time? Because Fred doesn't survive. Yeah. Like, what if they spent an afternoon testing all of the twins' new products? What if, those kinds of moments, those family building moments could have been beautiful, really great. And instead, with some nagging. Yeah. Because
she was in denial.
She's not perfect.
I think she was in denial so much about what was going to happen that I wanted her to have that, like, almost the scene of the morning like she's like, I know you're going, and like having the like real talk.
Yes.
I wanted her to have real talk with Ron and Harry and Hermione at some point, because she fought so hard against them doing anything.
Right.
And
because it wasn't new. It was like weeks that they were building, and like the rest of the family was like, yep, they're leaving. We know.
Yeah. Or even just try a new tactic. Try a tactic of like trying to buddy up to them and see what's going on. Like just trying something that's not just constantly thinking that keeping them apart. And like it's a flaw of hers, but I wanted her to have the like moment of reconciliation that she can't stop it. And that would be a powerful moment with her and them. But alas, it'll exist in my head.
And it could have happened so many times.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine at the birthday party?
Yeah.
When she gives him her brother's watch who died?
Yeah.
He was in the order. This would have been a perfect moment for her to be like, I'm sorry I couldn't get you a new one.
Yeah.
This one's from my brother who died for the First Wizarding War.
Yeah.
For these same things that you believe in.
Yeah. She has dealt with death.
That would have been such a good moment to bring that up. And she doesn't realize that it's so important because Harry has never gotten a hand-me-down. He has never gotten a family heirloom outside of the cloak. He has not gotten anything. Yeah. So like giving this secondhand watch is like everything he could ever want.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
And she does not realize it. Yeah. Because she's so bad at people. Like she could have. Yeah. That moment could have been so powerful of like, that could have been the moment of she's now been trying for a week. Yeah. To keep them apart and went, this could have been the olive branch of, I get that you're going to go do this, but I'm worried about you.
I'm terrified. Like, I'm terrified. Just admit it. Yeah. Like I'm terrified. But the Molly in the movies will always be much closer to the Molly that exists in my heart of what I wanted it to be. So I do appreciate that. Because, I found it much more frustrating to read because I wanted her to be that. Like, she seemed like she's a great character. Yeah. And what she does for Harry and Hermione is amazing. Like, accepting these into her family. Like, she's really wonderful. And Fleur's amazing. Like, I was so...
Love Fleur.
I love her so much.
Love Fleur a lot. She's not done justice. In the movies, she's still herself. Yeah. And I totally understand them gutting that character a little bit, but she's still her. Yeah. I think the movie did her justice. The choices she makes and how she speaks. Yeah. Yeah. I think they did a good job. They did a good job. But yeah, I think I would love to know more about Fleur. Yeah. I think she's great.
And we get like her post books is that she has 3 kids with Bill and then is awarded the Medal of Bravery from France and Britain. For participating in the Battle of Hogwarts, and we get nothing else.
Because the kids have more. The kids have a lot more. She doesn't do a whole ton. Yeah. But the kids, one of them, Victoria, I'll say her name wrong, but she actually dates Teddy for a bit.
Oh, yeah. In school. Yeah.
And then they do more stuff in Cursed Child and stuff. But yeah, she's kind of like...
But I will say the idea of her choosing to be a mom as her profession makes a lot of sense to me.
Yes. Like they're very family oriented.
Yeah. I feel
like her family, herself.
It feels like a very, like compared to what we were talking about kind of Jenny last week, like this one feels like, that feels on track.
It makes a lot of sense that Fleur would leave and just raise some... 3 more very
beautiful children,
witches and wizards.
They have to be beautiful. Like they're an 8th Vila.
Victor has the blonde hair.
Oh, that's so cute.
It's some alteration of Victoria that my brain is not finding right now. But she definitely has the sheet of blonde hair like her mother. But
and so Molly ends up with 12 grandchildren. So like that, like she gets another big
lots and lots
of grandkids, which is super fun.
She becomes the Auntie Muriel.
I do love the reconciliation with Percy in the books. I really think that's beautiful especially for her to see him come. Like I think that's a really lovely moment.
Fred's death more powerful, which is why I'm upset that they didn't lean into that in the movies. Yeah, because the fact that he died in front of Percy. Yeah. That's what really, really nails
the heartstrings and makes it, I do like that. Oof. But yeah, these women are really great. Like I like the characters a lot. There's frustrations.
Molly's tough. Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
The book Molly is very frustrating.
Book Molly is yikes.
It's funny because like I see because I knew the movies first, like I still love that.
You want her to be that.
I love that. I really love that version of her. So the books are frustrating.
And Fleur is the opposite.
Yeah.
Fleur is
I read
you
this,
get
I'm like,
more
look
and you
at
love her
this.
more.
This is amazing.
I'm glad we did these two together.
Yes. It's a lovely pairing because they do come into such conflict in book 6. So I think it was really great to kind of talk and like mix them together. But they're really important characters in Harry's life and in the series' life. And which is why we had so much to talk about and so many feelings. There's a lot of feelings.
Truly.
Like last week was a lot of love towards Jenny in the books and Luna, who I adore. But like this one, I had a lot of interesting feelings narratively and analyzing the characters and things. So thank you all for joining us on this adventure with the Weasley women and the Delacour women.
Thank you so much.
Yes, and I hope you join us next week when we do some more students. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh my goodness.
So many.
Get ready.
Just the
Get
list
ready.
of people you forgot existed in the books. So.
And the people who are just not in the movies that deserve to be.
Yep.
So see you next time. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Damsels in Dialogue. Tune in next week as we dive into all the female Hogwarts students along with the school's infamous bathroom haunting ghost.
If you enjoyed listening today, we'd love to have you subscribe to this podcast and share with friends.
If you really enjoyed our discussion, you can find more behind-the-scenes content, a peek at our research notes, and even entire bonus episodes on Patreon. Each month, we release a full After Hours episode where we will discuss each movie adaptation and don't hold back.
You can reach us on social media. Links to all our platforms can be found in our About section. Until next time, this has been Damsels in Dialogue.
Have a nice day.
And fuck TERFs.
This podcast episode is sponsored by Fan Corner Creations. Handmade fandom products, we make nerdy products no one else does with a passion only a fellow fan can. You can find them at fancornercreations.com. And this is produced by Hello Out There Audio, part of Hello Out There Productions.